Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to another Raw review. Today is January 4th, 2016, the very first Monday Night Raw of the year. Before we go on, I want to say Happy New Year. Hope you're having a good time. So the show starts off with Stephanie McMahon. She's coming out, and as soon as she gets out to the ramp, Roman Reigns, his music comes on, and then they both walk to the ramp. Stephanie's pissed off. Roman says, "There's no need for you to be out here. I'm going to do what Vince did to me last week, and I'm going to call him out." And he says, "Vince, get your ass out here." Stephanie goes on to say that he is not there yet, but he will be there for the main event when he defends the title against Sheamus. Roman goes on to say that if he loses this, he won't have a job, he won't have a family, he'll have nothing, because the belt is his family. It's his life. It's the only way he can support his family. And then he says if anybody screws him over, that Stephanie will not be picking Vince up from jail, but instead she'll be picking him up from the hospital. Cuts to commercial break. Dean Ambrose comes out because he's on commentary for the match of Neville versus Kevin Owens, a rematch from last week that does not end in 30 seconds this time. I unfortunately did not get to see the beginning of this match, but as soon as I came in, the match went about 4 or 5 minutes. But as soon as I came in, Kevin Owens threw Neville into the ropes, pop-up powerbomb for the win. So I didn't really get to see any of the match. I saw the ending, and then Owens and Ambrose have a stare down. Like, Owens is standing in the ring, Ambrose is standing at the announce table, and then Owens decides to walk back to the locker room. And when he gets to the front of the ring where the ramp is, he turns around and starts beating up Neville again. Ambrose then fights back. Owens tries to powerbomb Dean Ambrose through the announce table again. Dean Ambrose reverses that, puts Owen onto the table, gets on the barricade behind the announcers where they sit, and drops an elbow through the table. The next match, the entrances were during the commercial, so I didn't really care about this match. It was Titus O'Neil versus Stardust. Now this match, they would both get entrances on SmackDown, but apparently not on Raw. So it was a pointless throwaway match. The crowd really didn't care. They just chanted Cody the whole time. And Stardust, eventually, he takes control of the match. Stardust gets distracted from all the Cody chants, and Titus O'Neil takes over, hits the Clash of the Titus for the win. It was a very pointless match. There was also another pointless match. There was actually, two more pointless matches on this card, and we will get to those. Unfortunately, we have to get to those. So, Becky Lynch and Charlotte had a little segment backstage where Charlotte was like, "Did you ask for this match tonight?" And she said, "No, but I'm excited, so should you." So they're like, in spirit of competition, we'll go out there and fight. And then Ric Flair comes from behind Charlotte and says, "Yes, in the spirit of competition." And then goes to commercial break, and they come back, and the match starts. The match starts very even. They just keep one-upping each other, reversing each other's moves and everything. And then eventually Becky knocks Charlotte down, and Charlotte says, "Come help me up." And Becky helps Charlotte up. As soon as Charlotte gets up, she chops Becky and then starts beating the shit out of her. She takes over from there. While Becky is getting her ass handed to her, she eventually reverses the attack and puts Charlotte into a sleeper hold, which Charlotte then runs forward and slams her on her back. Becky starts to take over for a little bit, but then obviously Ric Flair grabs Becky's foot, and the ref says, "Don't do that." Charlotte goes for the roll-up. Becky reverses the roll-up into her own roll-up and gets the win. Becky Lynch beat Charlotte on Monday Night Raw, which is very good. Charlotte then goes on to beat the shit out of her, attack her, beat her down, and I assume, before the announcement happened, I thought that it was going to be Becky versus Charlotte at the Royal Rumble. But the last two matches, the Kevin Owens Neville match where Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens had the fight, and Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, it got announced that Thursday on SmackDown, I don't know if it's going to be live or not, but Thursday on SmackDown, Dean Ambrose will defend the Intercontinental Championship against Kevin Owens, and Charlotte will defend the Divas Championship against Becky Lynch. I don't know if they're going to continue both those feuds to the Royal Rumble. I assume they will. I don't honestly know. We'll get more on the Royal Rumble later in the pay-per-view, because there's some pretty big news about the Royal Rumble. Ryback versus Big Show. I literally did not care about this match. I walked out of my room. When I came back in, the Wyatts came out, and they're surrounding Ryback, and then they eventually beat him down. Then they go to the ring, surround the ring where Big Show's at, and obviously they attack Big Show. Bray then shouts that at the Royal Rumble they will take everyone out, announcing all four of them in the Royal Rumble. Also, earlier, okay, maybe not. That's actually right after this, so we'll get to that in a second. Del Rio and Rusev versus the Usos. The match was okay. It's just what you would expect. Jimmy and Del Rio start the match off, but before the match actually starts, Del Rio knocks Jay off the apron, and Rusev then gets in and makes sure Jimmy doesn't attack Del Rio. The match then starts, and Jimmy Uso takes over. Eventually, Rusev comes in. He obviously takes over. Jay hits a Samoa drop on Rusev, which was very impressive. He tags Jimmy in. Jimmy takes over. Del Rio goes for the corner thing, where the stomp. Eventually, Jimmy gets out of it because Jay pushes Del Rio off the top rope. Jimmy hits a super kick and gets a 2 count. Del Rio then puts Jay on the side ropes in the same format and jumps from the top rope into the middle of the ropes and does the corner jump thing from there. They pick up the win. This match, I don't understand why this match was a thing. Dolph Ziggler versus Heath Slater, but Heath Slater was accompanied by Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and Adam Rose. All 5 of these men were announced for the Royal Rumble. Dolph obviously takes over when the match starts, and then for some reason Heath Slater gets an upper hand. Bo Dallas and Adam Rose distract Dolph Ziggler, and Heath Slater gets a roll up and steals a victory. They then cut a promo, and they call themselves the Social Outcasts, which is obviously true. The next segment was the best segment of the night before the main event. We'll get to the main event in a second, but now it wasn't the match that was good, it was before the match. The New Days versus the Dudleys and Kalisto. And the New Day comes out. They have a new entrance, Titantron. It's like all colorful and unicorny, and they're like, since 2016's here, we're going to start off, we're going to show you guys something. And they have a 10 count show up, and it goes 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and when 5, and then when it gets to 4, the color, like they were all colors, the Titantron changes, and there are a bunch of light bulbs, and the 4 goes down to 4, 3, 2, 1, lights cut out. Chris Jericho stands out with his shiny coat, and eventually the lights come back on. It's like, welcome to Raw's Jericho, and yeah, it was a great segment. He said he came to save the WWE. He even goes to bring up the ratings and how they're shit. He brings up the WWE Network subscriptions and how those are shit. And he says that he is back to fix them. He then goes on to say that he will participate in the Royal Rumble. And he says that he's going to win, which is obviously what everybody said. He says he will take out the New Day. So that pretty much announces that Chris Jericho and the New Day will also be in the Royal Rumble. So that's Chris Jericho, the New Day, that's 4. Dolph Ziggler, Heath Slater, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Adam Rose, that's 9. Big Show, 10. The Wyatt family, 14, and Ryback was also announced during that match. So that's 15 of the 30 men. We will then, after I go over this match, I'll announce that there's another person in the Royal Rumble. The match then starts as normal. It was supposed to be Xavier and Kalisto starting out the match, but for some reason Xavier called out Bubba. Apparently they did something on SmackDown and he didn't like it. So he called out Bubba. The match was exactly what you would expect. Boring. I mean, the New Day are always great, but the Dudleys, they're not as exciting anymore. Kalisto stands on Bubba's shoulders while Bubba is standing on the second rope in the corner, and he does a front flip into, I don't know what you would call it. He like pretty much sits on Kofi's shoulders and drives him into the ground. After that, Xavier interferes and Big E splashes Kalisto while he's sitting out on the apron. Bubba Ray and Devon, they clear the ring and they hit the "Was Up" on Kofi. I want to say they hit it on Kofi. Xavier distracts them. Big E then puts Devon on his shoulders, and Kofi jumps off the top rope and kicks him in the face for the win. The main event. This Raw was actually not that long. I mean, it's 3 hours, obviously, but there was enough stuff that I only used two pieces of paper this week. Roman Reigns versus Sheamus for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, with Vincent Kennedy McMahon as the special guest referee. When the match starts, Roman has to hand over the title to Vince. They then have like a tug of war over it because Roman doesn't want to give it. Sheamus then attacks Roman, and Roman lets go, obviously. As soon as that happened, Sheamus took over, and then later on in the match, "Let's Go Roman" chants started to fill the arena, and then Roman Reigns took over. Roman clotheslines Sheamus out of the ring with himself, but Vince does not count because the title cannot change hands if there's a count out. Vince goes and talks to the bell ringer, I think he talked to them, and Sheamus attacks Roman Reigns with the steps. Obviously, they did it on purpose. Sheamus takes over from the majority of the match. Eventually, Roman gets the upper hand. He hits a drive-by, and then he turns that into Samoa drop. And Vince actually counts, but he counts really, really slow. He gets a 2 count. Roman then Superman punches Sheamus, but Vince does not count. Roman then gets in the corner and says, "Vince, watch this." He fakes a spear to Sheamus, turns around and Superman punches Vince. Roman then spears Sheamus, but there's no ref to count. Vince gets up and he tries to leave the ring because Roman is in the ring with him still, and then Roman throws him back into the ring, obviously. Stephanie McMahon comes out. She's standing on the bottom rope, leaning in like you shouldn't do that, and Roman Reigns throws Vince into the rope, knocking Stephanie into the ring. Roman goes for a spear on Vince, and Sheamus hits a brogue kick. Vince is dazed. Another ref, I think they said it was Scott Armstrong, who had been with the Authority for quite some time. He comes in to screw over Roman. He does a fast count. Roman gets out. He hits a Superman punch on Sheamus. Hits a Superman punch on Scott Armstrong. 1, 2, 3. Because another ref came out as well. There's 3 refs in this one match. Apparently, I didn't see it, but apparently Roman Reigns also knocked out the ref who helped him win. So, I don't know what that was about. And then Vince was like, "Well, there's the champion, Roman Reigns. This was the greatest part of the night." He says, "There's your champion, Roman Reigns." And by chairman of the board and executive producer of the WWE, it is my job to announce this next time you defend your title, it will be at the Royal Rumble. But your match will be you versus 29 other superstars in the Royal Rumble match. So, for those of you at home that don't understand what that means, Roman Reigns will be defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the Royal Rumble. It's only happened one time. I don't remember when it was. I don't think I was alive. And if I was, I think it was in '96 and I was 1. But I very, very well could be wrong. I don't remember. But, yeah. So, the Royal Rumble will be for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which is freaking amazing. And then also, I don't know how true this is, but when I picked up my phone right before I recorded this, Bleacher Report updated, and they said that WWE had signed AJ Styles, which is amazing. I assume it'll only be for NXT. I'm actually gonna pull up the article right now to see how clear it is. AJ Styles signs. WWE signs AJ Styles. Let's see who. Okay, you got AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson, all from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Apparently, they all got signed by. Apparently, they all got signed by WWE today, so that's pretty cool. They'll probably be in the in NXT, of course. But yeah, that was Monday Night Raw for January 4th, the first of the year. Happy New Year to all of you. Also, during the show, it was announced that Brock Lesnar will be at Raw next Monday. I assume he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. There's a very good chance he could win it if he's in it. Because why would you put him in it and not have him win it? And then I could assume that ends up being Roman versus Brock too. Because I assume if Roman loses it, he's going to have a rematch, because champion rematch clause. But yeah, leave a like if you enjoy Roman Reigns defending the championship in the Royal Rumble. That is it for today. I will see you guys next time. Toodles.